Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go.
Because I got it like that. Oh my God, Dagda is just so amazing.
Oh God, this is like my everyday fucking life that I have to hear every time it's on the set. Oh, you got me.
I mean, they recognize my. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I know you're over there recording when you know that I'm busy writing down my information I need to write down because you're a dick.
I mean, this is what editing's all about.
Well, how much editing do we actually do? Because it's not as funny. I mean, yeah, we've had to edit out a few things that are like really like name, location, or
Information
sensitive, like some sensitive stuff that's like, oh yeah, didn't realize we said that. We need to.
We should not include this data.
Yeah, this data is irrelevant to this conversation and future safety of life. So, anyway, well, I'm glad we're back. I think they're glad we're back. But
Of course, they're glad I'm back.
Of course. But before we really get into anything, I wanted to do a couple of shout outs because it's really important to me that everybody understands that we do appreciate you guys. So we have some shout outs to do. Are you ready to hear them? Because I had to make sure I wrote them down so I didn't forget what the fuck I was giving them a shout out for.
Sure.
Okay. So the first one we have is our first financial contributor, and that is Rose G. So thank you, Miss Rose. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Our second shout out, and it just must be the name, I swear, but I promise you, it is our very own Caracas Caraca, or Miss Rose S., our very first Patreon member. Thank you, Miss Rose. We appreciate your Caracas Caraca. Seriously, that's her favorite tag. It's
Nice.
Cracker.
Cracker. Thank you, Cracker.
Absolutely. And by special request, Caracas Caraca's girlfriend, Miss Stacy K, says, "What up, everybody? Shout out from the Missouri, the Show Me State." Thank you, Miss Stacy. We appreciate you talking to us. Hopefully that puts a smile on your face that we thought of you. We appreciate the support, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
So definitely Rose G, Rose S, Stacy K, thank you very much for the support, the love, and the shout outs. We have an ongoing list in the future. As we're able to, there will be other kinds of thank yous. And so anyways, we appreciate you guys very, very much. And I'm just going to give a quick shout out to, I would say, is our second financial contributor, almost an investor in a way. And that's
Agent Double H.
Thank you very much. We know you're having a tough time right now, but your support of us makes our support of you better. We definitely enjoy when we can get together with you and have coffee. And we thank you for helping make all of this possible.
Yes, thank you.
So, all right. Okay. Enough of that, because I was about to get sentimental and cry. And fuck, Jesus Christ knows I'm done crying today. So
I want to cry.
what did your vagina hurt today?
Oh, yes, totally.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, also I didn't wash it.
What do I say? Dirty coochie is not good coochie.
Indeed.
You've got the odor issue, you've got the moisture issue, you've got what will eventually turn into bug issues. So just so you know, they make these great handy dandy things for vaginas, and they're basically douche wipes.
Like baby wipes or something?
Yeah, but they're better. They're pH balanced for a healthy vagina. They're called date night wipes, I think. They come in.
Wow.
So let me tell you what, they are very handy if you're
for after, not before. I was thinking, like, you're gonna use that. You're just gonna use that before. Why don't you take a fucking shower?
You actually use them before, so it smells like dessert for whoever's going south of the border to eat Olay. My favorite one happens to be like I don't know. It smells like fucking fresh peaches to me. So I don't know. Or at least on my body, that's how it smells.
Fucking fresh peaches.
My partner had no problem with that odor at all. He liked it.
It makes the Peaches song by the presidents of the United States of America have a whole new meaning.
I don't know if I've heard that one. I've heard the going to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches, though.
That song.
Oh, is it really? Well, fuck, you're dating me that I know that.
I had friends that whenever my birthday would come up, he'd just look at me and be like,
Your birthday present's coming today, so very nice. Like, yeah, wow. It's actually a big birthday for you, but we're not going to discuss what big birthday it is, but it's a big birthday for you.
I'm finally old enough to drink.
And you're finally old enough to get a reduction in your insurance rates for being over the age of 25 and driving with a good record.
Yeah.
So ridiculous, too. So, and, oh, wait, you already have insurance bonuses because you're a fucking man.
Really?
Yeah. Women get charged higher. Unless we're fucking married, we get charged higher rates. It's fucking stupid.
That kind of makes sense to me.
Really? Were you on the fucking committee for our local... Look.
Now, here's the thing.
Okay.
So it makes sense to me either way. It would make sense to me, especially men under the age of 25, if their insurance is higher, which it is, but not necessarily higher than the women that are under the age of 25.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it would make sense if the men's insurance was higher is because they get in fewer accidents, but the accidents that they get into are worse. The female drivers
have more fender benders.
They have more accidents, but they're less impactful accidents.
Yeah, the oops, I put my on bump.
It's usually a oops, I scratched the paint, not a oh, somebody's dead. So I kind of understand either way of either one of them having more.
Right, and if I have a reckless driving history, if I had something besides, and I'm going to just say it because you're going to be like, well, this one time I was with you and this happened. Yes, I got a very big speeding ticket that wasn't a speeding ticket because what had happened, it ended up being an insurance ticket because, remember, we were working remotely on the other side of our state. And
oh, yeah, that one.
And, oh, God, it was so I just wanted to go the fuck home. I was so tired, but clothes were dirty. I did laundry. I always kept my insurance card, my license, everything in my pocket. It went through the wash. It was illegible. I didn't have any cell service. Where we got pulled over, where I was doing far exceeding the speed limit, which now knowing that that's all said and done, I was actually doing 77 and a 35, not knowing it had transitioned. But the state patrolman was really nice about it, and how long did it take him to catch up to us once he hit the lights? Like 2 minutes to get to us, maybe 3?
Something like that.
It was a while. But I pulled over. As soon as he hits his lights, I pull over and I waited for him. It's fine. But he was really good about it. I actually sent a letter to the State Patrol thanking them because it was actually my first big thing in a long time. Because the last time I got pulled over for speeding, I said to the State Patrol officer, I said, and exactly how fast was I going? And he was just like, oh, you were going fast. But how fast was I going? He couldn't tell me how fast I was going. I just flew by him really quickly. He didn't have time. He did not even have time to check me on radar. Because as soon as I passed him, I saw how fast I was going, which we're not going to discuss because it was way too fast. I had somebody with me in the car. I was going too fast. As soon as I passed him and he flipped, I was going so fast, he flipped his lights before he ever even got behind me. I just immediately pulled over.
Yeah.
So he didn't have time to radar me. But I got a very stern 2-part warning. It was a written warning that, one, I needed to be mindful of the speed I probably still have this somewhere too. I needed to be mindful of the speed I was going because although it was an unradared number or however he worded it, I was in excess of the speed limit. And 2, I needed to be very mindful of how fast I was going, having passengers in my car. And should I find myself in an emergency again, I should consider contacting local law enforcement for an escort. Do y'all want to know what the emergency was? The person who was in my car needed to get home so they could watch their soap operas.
Fucking wow. Seriously. Jesus.
I was 19 at the time. I didn't think anything about it.
This is a real emergency.
So look, what popper they wanted to watch and all of that. And I was just like, so we gotta go because we're waiting to see if I don't remember the character's name. I'm so sorry. We need to check. I think his name was like James or Jim or something like that.
Billy Bob.
I'm so sorry, sir. We're trying to get home so we can check on the condition. James just came out of a coma. So,
Wow.
when you're 19, you say stupid things. You really, really do. So other than you being with me and getting the speeding ticket that ended up not being a speeding ticket, it was just an insurance ticket and one parking ticket. I got one parking ticket when I was right after I got my driver's license in
La la la. Radio edit.
because I was 2 minutes late to the fucking meter. 2 minutes, and the meter maid was like, "You can just go pay it, girl, okay?" And I was like, I'm right here. Like, this meter maid was literally writing out the ticket. I'm like, I'm right here. I'll feed the meter right now, and I'm leaving. And somebody else, no, you've already get it. It was only a $5 parking ticket, but it pissed me off bad enough that I fed the fucking meter. I walked over to the city building where you used to pay them at, and I'm here to pay this. And they're like, it's not even our system. I'm paying it because I'm here, and I'm not coming downtown fucking again just to pay this. And I'm not wasting, I won't say what I wouldn't waste on an envelope and a stamp, because then that'll be like really like, whoa.
Nickel.
Back when it was a nickel. So I got a receipt and I told him to have a nice fucking day, and I didn't go downtown I definitely didn't go down to that part of downtown again for like 6 fucking years at least, if not 10. I just, whatever. So I had that. My ex-husband was driving in, oh my God. We were going to an Easter celebration, and it was, I forgot to put my seatbelt on. Because growing up around here, we didn't have seatbelt laws until that's a more recent thing, you know? So I got a seatbelt ticket, but it's still not on my record either, because I used an old trick that's not valid anymore, so I'm not going to say what it was, but that's not on my record either.
Yeah.
So I could understand if I had all this reckless driving where I'd had anything other than basically a fucking warning. But when you can look at my driving record and you can see I'm a very, knock on some wood, very good driver. I mean, I haven't made you shit your pants yet, have I?
I mean, I used to ride with Chuck, and he didn't make me shit my pants either, so.
That's true. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm decent. I mean, you know, I've recently had a passenger who, you know.
Anyway.
In recent months, I've had a passenger that I was out to kill us all, but they were on drugs, prescribed drugs, number one. And number two, you know, when you're on prescribed drugs, especially narcotics, painkillers, or whatever, everything always seems different than it was. And when he started yelling and screaming, I remember looking down at my speedometer, and I was just like, what the fuck? I'm doing 21 miles an hour in a 25.
Also, when the person in question is super used to driving themselves and is like a control freak when it comes to operating a vehicle, it's kind of also understandable that they get overly excited about stuff. Like when I had to drive Chuck around for several months because he had fucking surgery on his shoulder, I would catch him a number of times, like trying to stomp on the brake.
The ghost pedal. Ghost pedal. Yeah.
Catch it, and it's like, that's actually under control, dude. And especially considering like how crazy he drives, and then to see him being like, because I found myself sometimes doing that with him, because he'll fucking get super close to people, and it seems like he's not actually paying attention to what he's doing, but he is.
Right.
But from your perspective, you're like, I'm not in control of stuff, so I would be hitting the brake already, and it's like 20 feet past where I would have hit the brake.
My poor partner, constantly, when he's driving, because he's so tall and big and strong, you know, because he's 6'5".
He's large
and in charge. But you know, he's just about 6'5", right? So he's fucking built like a linebacker, pretty much. Not fat, but like he's very strong. And he's broad shouldered. So I drive a very small sedan, and he drives an SUV. So when we're together, because I'm only, you know, and he's and a half, you motherfucker. So he drives, But I've gone to, it used to be so much worse because it is a control thing. When you're used to driving yourself all the time or being a primary driver, you know, it is a control thing. And so I've gone from, it used to be so bad that I would literally, I'm sure I'm on some people's bad, because I'd be like that cat with that yogurt. No, I was like, because it's just that thing where that's like 100 feet after I would have hit the brakes.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in complete control, but I am a defensive driver.
Okay.
And he's an aggressive driver.
Yeah.
So, he drives just like his parental figure does, because it's identical. And his parent, when I've ridden with them, is like, "What are you so excited for?" Because you are doing 47 in a 20 zone, and school is actively letting out, and you getting to this appointment is more important to you than that little kid running out in the middle of the street going, "Where's my bus? Where's my bus?" So I go into panic mode a lot. He gets, like just last weekend, we had errands to run. And like, he's so used to it anymore, he doesn't like get angry. Sometimes he gets angry, but he doesn't like get angry. But like, if you'd have been a fly on the wall, you probably would have been like, "Yep, sounds about right." Because he was just like, "Oh my God, would you stop doing that? It's not that big of a deal. It's not so dramatic." And in the meantime, the only thing I did is went, "Oh Lord." And that's literally all I did.
Mm.
That's all I thought I did. But apparently I also stomped a foot.
My grandmother used to do this thing that fucking drove everybody crazy.
Yeah.
She would do this. But yeah, she would do this crazy inhalation, and like you're driving and you're like paying attention or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear this fucking sharp inhalation next to you, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Because it would startle you,
Yeah,
the driver.
like, going into cardiac
what the
arrest.
fuck's going on? And like, oh, somebody was pulling. I saw them. It was fine. It's like one time. Fortunately, we weren't in a car when this happened.
Right.
We were gonna date myself here. We were doing a wagon train trip for the centennial of Washington State.
Okay.
So in 1989 was the centennial for Washington State.
Man, you're old.
And we did a wagon train trip to celebrate it as part of the centennial celebration or whatever.
Okay, but you have to explain to people what the fuck a wagon train trip is, because one, I don't know.
Okay.
And two, there's bound to be at least half of our listeners out there are going to be like, one, what the fuck is a wagon? And two, what the fuck is a wagon train trip?
So it was a trip in old school, like horse and buggies.
Oh.
So like like what they would use crossing the plains from
Like legit
eastern,
wagon trains.
Yeah, from eastern United States all the way out here to the Oregon Territory and California Territory, all that. And so they were, of course, modified to function on modern roads. So they had tires and shit and actual braking systems and stuff.
Yeah.
Which they didn't really have any of that back in the day. But so anyway, we would ride the wagons or horses or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes we would walk. Like I would walk a lot because they're only traveling like maybe not quite 7 miles an hour, like six and a half, something like that.
Yeah. So basically double the speed of a brisk pace.
It's a brisk walk, not quite fast enough to jog.
Right. Right.
But definitely, it's not a fucking.
Yeah, it's a double brisk. It's because they consider brisk pace like 3.5 miles an hour or something like that. So
anyway, my grandfather trained for months and months because he wasn't part of this group or whatever.
Right.
He was just joining it because it was my grandmother was part of the Tenino Historical Society.
Okay.
And so they were among a bunch of other historical societies that basically hosted this and everything. They had one during the American Centennial.
Right.
That went from like somewhere back east all the way out here to the Oregon, well, to the Pacific Northwest, the Oregon Trail.
So the actual line, which I guess you can't do the exact Oregon Trail anymore.
Probably not.
But you can do a rough close proximity to it.
Yeah. And so this one was basically from the border of Washington and Oregon up to Olympia.
Okay.
So it's just a brief one, but it was like the finish of the Oregon Trail.
Right. And that's still, if you're going 7 miles an hour, that's still a day trip.
It took us 2 weeks to travel from Longview to Olympia.
That makes more sense if you're doing 7 miles an hour. And of course, just with DOT laws being the way they are, you still have to follow them. So
yeah, and it was like 100 miles. Of course, we didn't. A lot of the original trail would have been on I-5 effectively.
Yeah.
But we weren't on that. We had to take back roads and whatever.
Right.
And stop in little towns and set up tents and shit. Well, a lot of us had motorhomes or whatever. But anyway.
Did you guys stay on the wagon, or did you stay in a motorhome, or did you stay in a hotel?
So we did. We had a trailer, truck and trailer.
Nice.
So a camping trailer. So we stayed in that. Although a lot of times I would sleep outside because it was during the spring, summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple times I slept under the wagon because it made a good shelter or whatever.
Right.
It didn't rain the entire time, which was kind of odd, but it was nice.
Yeah, but like even as a young child, though, you've been very independent, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sleep in the same room as you. I don't sleep by myself. I'm a big boy. Oh boy, he's a big boy. So, anyways.
Yeah. So my grandfather trained for a couple of months with the Stancils, which were the family that was like they were in charge of the wagon train.
Okay.
And so he trained for months on how to basically drive the horse and buggy.
Of course.
Anyway, one time we're out on our practice run.
Right.
And my grandmother's sitting next to him up in the bench or whatever. And he's like, got the reins and leading the horses. And something happened. I don't remember what it was. But she let out her gasp. And then she got up and reached over to grab the reins. And my grandfather was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why? You're just going to cause chaos, basically.
Like, it's funny, but during all the drives, with all the gasping or whatever, did you ever try to grab the steering wheel?
No, thankfully not, because that would be a way. I mean, there's so much. You controlling an automobile is almost instantaneous, like the response, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with a horse and buggy, the horses got their own minds and they're going to do what they got to do.
Yeah, they'll get around your command when they get around your command.
Yeah. So the chances of you crashing your horse and buggy is much less than crashing a car because you grabbed a hold of the control devices or an airplane even.
Right. Oh, that's so. It's just crazy to me that instinctually she would try to grab the reins when she'd never tried to grab the steering wheel of an automobile.
Yeah, it was like, what is even going on here? Because I was in the back, and I just heard the gasp, and I turned around and was looking, and she's standing up, reaching over to grab the reins.
Right. My grandfather's like, yeah, I'm a horrible. There is only, and we can't. In case my partner actually listens to this, because he's kind of hit or miss with podcasts right now, with all these transitional changes we're doing. So I don't want to say who, but there is only actually one person I've ever ridden with, because I think that my jump scare factor has been around since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I can remember telling my dad when I was like, my turn to, and it was back when you wouldn't get taken to jail for letting your 6-year-old child ride in the front seat, Yeah. Now you've got weight limits and ages, I mean, I've seen 12-year-olds still in booster seats because they only weigh 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So, it's always been a reaction for me to like that, to have that thing. But there's only been one person I've ever ridden with where I don't really have that reaction. And it's not taking away from other people's driving ability. And I have a hard time explaining this to my partner. It's not It's not all his driving.
Yeah.
Some of it is because I'm not an aggressive driver. I was raised to be a defensive driver.
Yeah.
I actually, at one of the jobs I had, there was a company called Smith Driving School we had to qualify for every year. And that was a thing there. I had just spent so long driving bigger trucks that had, now I'm going to be all nerdy for this, right? So I used to work for a lawn care company, and I was a licensed technician and applicator through our state. And so I was licensed, had to do testing and get certified through the EPA. So I was out driving a vehicle that had roughly 800 gallons of liquid in it. So one of the things that Smith Driving School had taught us, and they came out to us for like 2 weeks or whatever, you did their course and you had to get certified every year, blah, blah, blah. But a gallon of water is roughly like 8.64 pounds. It's right. I always say around 8 pounds because a lot of people can't understand that little bit of difference and why it would vary a little bit, like if you've added something to the liquid or not.
Yeah.
So for us, particularly for all intents and purposes of what we were doing, we did our liquid load surge tests based on 800 water gallons.
Yeah.
Was it accurate? To a degree, yes. To a degree, no, because we had additives and accoutrements that went in there. So it actually increased it closer to the 8.75, 8.4, 8.8 range as far as water weight. But anybody can grab all you got to do is take a 16-ounce bottle of water, whatever, take a bottle of whatever you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you shake it, right, if you shake it back and forth on a table and let it go, not pushing it, just shake it, you're going to see when it's really full, it moves a little. It might even tip over. But once you take like half that water out, do the same thing, that shit will fly. So what they wanted to teach you was as you lost liquid through your vehicle for the day, because that's what you're out doing, you're out applicating to turfs.
It becomes more unstable.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more unstable. And what really happens is, and you can feel it when you're driving, I would say like in the snow. I mean, some people have never driven in the ice or snow. But what happens is your brakes actually start pushing back on you. It actually does a liquid load surge is what it's called. And you can be fully stepping on that brakes. That force behind you is still going to force you forward. And what happens is you end up, and you can actually hear it sometimes on the freeway where you hear people go, you can actually hear those brakes grinding. It's because they've got the force happening, but that liquid load surge is just pushing.
Yeah.
So one of the big things, so this, obviously, I drove for the company. I was an applicator for over a decade. I worked for the company for 13 years.
Yeah.
So I had been taught from day one that you have to be a defensive driver. And the reason you had to be a defensive driver was one, because you're carrying materials that, although they are put into a LD50 factor state that would be more of an irritant. Yeah. LD50, for anybody who doesn't know, is a lethal dose for 50% of the populace kind of thing. It's based on an insect number and like what can cause damage. And obviously it's been many a dark moon since I've studied it to give you the accurate. So I'll go through it again at another point. But anyways, so everything we were using was in a diluted form. So it definitely, it would be more of an irritant. I only ever, and all the time, I was an applicator, and I had to use a sub truck. I had to use a replacement vehicle.
Okay.
And this is at a point where we actually had a loader for us. They would load our product for us. Mm-hmm. And the person who had loaded my product had not screwed the lid on this replacement truck down right, because it had the big. Now, when you talk about a tank that will hold 800 gallons to a certain point, right? And you have somebody who overfills that, you're going to get liquid load surge like you wouldn't believe, because it needs to go somewhere. And it's not like your typical where it's fighting you back. It's the reverse of feeling somebody pushing you when you have something that's like super full and it's trying to get out, because it creates a vacuum. When it's that full, it creates a vacuum. Well, then you have a misaligned lid. And so you get this very, like, you've heard people use a piece of paper to make that.
That super high squeal noise. Yeah.
You hear that. So I'm over in a sister city from where we're at here, which was my service area. And I kept feeling like there was a drag. And I had noticed that I had liquid coming out of the back of my truck. Now, at the time, I was actually carrying, I actually had an 800-gallon tank and a 400-gallon tank. That 1,200 gallons.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. It's a lot of liquid.
Yeah.
And I've got a leak. I can literally see it coming out of the back of the truck. I pull over. I call a mechanic. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I do not have enough absorbency barriers here because we were only carried a little bit. And so he's just like, hey, and when you have things that happen, sometimes you can react in the right way.
Yeah.
And, you can really be like, oh, I know every step I need to do for safety.
Yeah.
Other times you're just like, humming.
Yeah, panic mode sets in and you fucking stop thinking.
And it wasn't, for me, it wasn't panic mode. I was fucking pissed. They pulled my work truck off the road. I have to be careful what I say because I do believe my ex-husband might hear some of this and I don't want him to be like, that happened right after we got divorced. It sure fucking did. Anyways, so they literally pulled my truck off the road for no reason. Literally no reason, because my route that day, there was something that needed to happen to the truck and it was scheduled to be done at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And the route I had that day, although a full day, I knew my route like the back of my hand. We've talked about this before, especially the neighborhood areas that was my service areas. It was just back to back. I just needed to be able to get on the road. I literally had everything up in one area and like 6 things in another area. I was done by 1:00 that day. So they didn't need to, but just the fact that you have somebody who's being paid to do a job right?
Yeah.
All this motherfucker needed to do was get the lid on correctly. First of all, not overfill your tanks, which is a whole nother issue because it makes the pumps underneath, the D10s, the D12s, it makes them whine because they have to work against that force. So anyways, I called the mechanic and he's just like, well, make sure, you park. He said, park uphill. What he meant to say was park downhill. And I said to our mechanic at the time, I'm like, Jess, are you sure? He's like, yeah, you want to park uphill. You got to get the pressure off that tank. Because even when I stand there talking to him on flat level ground, I've got a leak going on. I can't figure out where the fuck it's coming from. They don't have lights in the back where these old tanks were.
Yeah.
And even with my phone, my light on my phone back then, I didn't have a flashlight with me. I couldn't see it. And he's just like, oh yeah, you got to get the pressure off. He meant to say downhill because as soon as I took it uphill, you would have fucking thought World War IV had happened, because as soon as I got into that uphill position, every ounce of liquid that had sloshed, because it did have a little retaining barrier, and it would hold up to several gallons. But as soon as I hit that upward angle, it sloshed over that barrier, and I just panicked. I was angry, and Jess was just like, "Are you parked uphill?" I'm like, "Of course I'm parked uphill, and now it's spilling everywhere." Get my chalk block in because of the hill I'm on, which is what stops that thing.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Oh shit, I'm on my way." And he's like talking to me as I threw down my first absorbency pad. It dawned on me, hey, dipstick, turn the fucking truck around and all the liquid got back in the truck. So my spill was legitimately, because I got it all, my spill was 2 gallons. But if you take 2 gallons of water and throw it out on a hill, on a flat hill, you know what I mean? Like a flat surface, but angled down, watch how big it looks. It will shock the shit out of you. How much?
Yeah.
And because a lot of people are going, oh, why would you panic over 2 gallons? Because of the way it looks. And it's not necessarily that it was a hazard, because I would have had to have spilled the whole thing and it would have had to have made it to the drain that was 50 fucking feet away. And it didn't, which is the great thing, because first thing I did was I flipped that truck around. I went and threw 2 absorbency pillows over the drain. Well, I put down it's an absorbency line. So it's like this big absorbency
like
snake.
Or whatever.
Yeah, there's a specific name for it, but because I haven't had field so long.
Kind of like a sandbag or something, but smaller.
Yeah, but it's in a tube. It's like what, about an 8-inch, 8-inch diameter or something like that. So I just threw that down and ran down to the drain and covered it up with 2 absorbency pillows. And then I went back and I fixed my thing. It never made it past that. And because as you're going down, because most places aren't like an ice skating rink where it's like perfectly flat glass. Yeah. So it's going to travel really fast. No, here in our city, we have a lot of concrete, and it's almost over time, almost like aggregate. Because it's very cracky and stuff, but nothing that, and it was so funny because I remember my boss at the time, I was just like, who do I need to call? I got to report it. And literally sweet guy, super sweet guy. His name was Mike. And he actually called, and they were, the EPA of our state was, you're calling us about a less than 50 gallon spill of a diluted product that doesn't have anything other than, it was that time of year where I was spraying iron, and water. And that literally is just a moss control and make your lawn green. I have a mess to clean up the rusty stain you get from the iron, but
Okay.
why did we squirrel that?
We were talking about driving
Yeah.
and people having
Oh,
control.
switch drivers, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, the driving school.
I mean, you know, so I very much am a defensive driver because that's how they taught. And it has saved my ass more than once. It saved my ass on the local bridge against a drunk driver. My secondary work area city when I was that. There's a main thoroughfare up there, like you're going to the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And, so they teach you to be a defensive driver. And I think everybody should be kind of a defensive.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. If at least 98% of us were defensive instead of aggressive, we probably have a lot less accidents.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the aggressive people are still going to be aggressive. They might get like a little more aggressive. But so one of the things they taught you with all of this, besides being a defensive driver, was the reasons why. And one, if you're a defensive driver, you are actually going to drive slower and you are more apt to follow the laws and be more cautionary. And two, when you're driving a commercial vehicle, you definitely want to be a defensive driver and not an aggressive driver because there are too many motherfuckers out there trying to cause accidents so they can fucking sue you. I had more than one person try to do that. And I had this bitch on the main thoroughfare in the city over, like the city my sister lives in.
Yeah.
And this bitch came off in front of me. I'm doing 30 in a 35 zone. And this bitch kept cutting in front of me and slamming on brakes. I kept changing lanes. We get to a red light. I'm going to tell you right now, I know I'm a very nice person until you piss me off and you fuck with my life, you fuck with my money. And I remember rolling down the windows because I had automatic windows because my Benjamin truck was just awesome. And I looked at this lady and I said, didn't work so well, did it for you, bitch? Time dash cams were not a thing.
Yeah.
But me being the see you next Tuesday, I can be when you piss me off for the last time because I didn't want an accident on my driving record. I didn't want to get hurt. And I had like 400 gallons of liquid because I was heading up to the north end to go take care of a couple of little properties, a couple of new properties. That they were like, hey, is there any way you can get out there today? Hell yeah, I'm done. I can go. And I was like, things were good. So anyways, this is like, dash cam was a very rare thing. I was like, I pulled up my phone and, oh man, this is such a dater. It was a flip phone. It was a fold phone.
Was it a Razor?
It was a Razor. It was a Razor 2. Ooh. And I held up. And I was like, bitch, you're on camera, right? Oh my God, this lady, I think I made her piss her pants. She's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to, I thought you were so bad. I'm like, I'm sure, I'm not going to say the other my work truck because the way the Isuzu windows are, it's very evident in the work truck that I'm not some buff bike dude.
Yeah.
That I thought you were so-and-so, this guy, and he knows my husband. I'm just trying to say hi. I'm like, so what happens to me when I was younger and I got into getting pissed off mode? My hair came down. And I was like, bitch, do I look like a dude to you? And I didn't used to wear makeup to work then, but after that day, I fucking certainly did. I wore eyeliner and mascara every day to fucking work after that.
Mm.
Do I look like a fucking bitch? I mean, luckily it wasn't like it happened right after I first started doing that side of it because my hair used to be down to my bottom, like pretty close to my butt. And even though I'm short, that's still, long hair. This big stuff with the weird man measuring. So once I actually went on the road doing applications, I actually cut all my hair. I actually have pictures. So I would not have my pictures taken for the first 3 or 4 months because it was like April or May of that year. I cut all my hair off, or maybe it was once summertime hit of that application year. Because there's a family photo with my siblings, my mom, and my grandma, God rest her soul. And that was like 3 or 4 months after I'd gotten my hair cut off. And it's pretty fucking short. And I don't know where my picture of it is, but I know my mom's got it. Because I was going to show you when we were over at the house helping her.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's right. All of her pictures are put away.
Yeah.
So anyways.
That actually made me think of 2 things, talking about weighing liquids and sloshing around. In high school, I took a pirates. Yes, I took a pirates class. I took a pilot's ground school course because there's an airport, a very small private airport.
Oh, there's
near
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a few of them out that way.
And one of the dudes from there was an instructor, so he came over to the high school and gave a course for like $100.
Nice.
And
Which is like today's standards is like $9,002.
yeah, and it was like even at that time it was a really good deal. And I wanted to be a pilot. I was wanting to fly.
I mean, biplanes are a lot easier to fly than commercials now.
Yeah, back in my day, you had to pedal to make the plane go.
Yeah, I got to put your rudder works in.
Which is kind of funny because they did actually make planes that you could pedal, but that was in like 2005 or something like that.
Oh.
Because they had to have like the light enough materials. Blah blah blah. Anyway.
Anyways, so you wanted to take this pilot's ground course.
So I did take the course.
Okay.
But it was my sophomore year, and that year I fucking fucked up a lot.
Uh-huh.
I basically did no fucking homework that entire year. And so I failed a class with an 87%, sorry, which is a whole story unto itself. Anyway, so I took
In
this
case you haven't figured out, this motherfucker's smart. Anyways.
allegedly. Obviously not that smart. So I took this class, and the most annoying part about it was when we were learning about, I don't know how they do it with like big airliners or like cargo planes and stuff.
Right.
But when you're doing like a little Cessna, the standard sort of small private plane, you have to weigh everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even your fuel and your oil in the engine all comes into account for like how far you can travel.
Right.
Because, well, the more weight in the plane, the more drag, and therefore the faster you go through fuel, so you can't travel as far. But that was the most annoying part to me, was calculating like the liquids.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, how much is a gallon of gas again? That was super annoying. So
yeah, because gasoline actually weighs more than water.
Yep, and it weighs a different amount than oil.
Yep.
And it's like,
I think a gallon of gas is like 9.24 or some shit like that. It's
I
crazy.
don't remember. That was like 75 years ago when I fucking took that
It
class.
was like 312 years ago before I became a vampire.
Yeah. And then the second thing that it made me think of talking about that was when I was in the Army. A lot of times when you're in the military, you'll end up with what are called additional duties.
Right.
And the commo shop that I was at, the MP company, our shop additional duty was that we were the field sanitation.
Oh, no.
And so I had to go to field sanitation school. And one of the things that they were teaching us was this, like, okay, you're doing water purification, you're doing, how would I say, basically for porta potties or whatever.
Right.
You'd be dealing with that, be dealing with cleaning clothes, all that sort of stuff, cooking setups, you're dealing with all that.
Right.
And one of the things that they were talking about, we had these big, they're these tiny trailers called water buffaloes.
Okay.
And it's this trailer with a big fuel tank on it, basically.
Okay.
Except you only put water in it.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how to sanitize the water. And basically you just pour bleach into it, although it's powdered, it's not liquid.
It's a powdered chlorine bleach.
Yeah. And it comes in these little ampule things, and you pour them in there. Anyway, part of the instruction manual for how to do this said, find a clean stick. Like, and I'm like, when I fucking read that, I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Find a clean stick. Like, you're supposed to pick up a random stick off the ground and fucking stir it, because it's like, I don't know, it's probably like 100 gallons or something like that.
Right.
So you fill it up and then you pour all these ampules in there, and then you're supposed to stir it a little bit and then let it sit for a while.
Yeah.
And then it will kill everything that's in there, basically.
Yeah.
Find a clean stick. And I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be using a dirty stick off the ground to fucking stir up this water I'm supposed to be drinking later. But yeah.
Which it doesn't really matter, because it's funny when they say find a clean stick, but what they mean is find a stick that's not covered in shit, mildew, or moss.
Yeah.
Or dirt.
Yeah. Or maybe even bark.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine there's some people at some point somewhere doing that same thing, probably pulled out their knife and whittled until they had what they thought was clean bark. And they very possibly could have washed it before sticking it in the tank.
Carved into the stick, clean. This is a clean stick. I just stuck it in the porta potty.
Like
It's a clean
one end
stick.
clean, the other end dirty.
Yeah, it says clean on it, so therefore it's a clean stick.
Right.
I got a story about stick and porta potty.
Okay,
We'll
fine.
get into that some other time.
We'll get into that a little bit later. So listen. Listen, Linda.
Linda, honey, listen to me.
If you have not ever seen it, please go to YouTube, type in Listen Linda, and watch it, because that is our daily brain chaotic life. How we, but no papaos. Anyways, again, I want to say thank you so much to Rose G, Rose S, and Miss Stacy K. Your guys' support does mean a lot to us. We do appreciate you, and we will find a way to say thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you to our wonderful barista today, Miss Z, for doing such a fantastic job.
Yes,
Yes,
as always.
as always. So we're probably going to hit him with the outro now.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, you guys have a great day out there. Until next time.
Later.
Bye. Okay, everybody, that's all the time we have for today. So I want to thank you for stopping by to enjoy the conversation. We're glad you're here, and please share and share again and share some more. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll be having another chat and another cup soon. We'll talk to you then. Look forward to seeing you.